you, Ambassador. We now turn to Paul Hotchcroft, the editor of the book. He is a well-known academic of the Philippines, and many people have read many of his works. He is a dual citizen, so he gets the joy of voting in both Australia and the United States. And most importantly, he is a tireless editor. This project began in October 2012, and we're now finally done with it. So it's due to him and his pushing to get us through to this far. So Paul, if you give us an overview.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you, Ambassador. On behalf of the Coral Bell School of Asia Pacific Affairs of the Australian National University, my home back in Canberra, I want to welcome you all to this book launch and emphasize how delighted we are to have you join this occasion. The Ambassador has already acknowledged some of the distinguished notables in our midst, and I also want to extend a warm welcome, particularly those here on the podium, my fellow political scientist, Miriam Ferrer, Chairman Iqbal Mohaguer, the MILF Peace Panel, Undersecretary Jacita Andot of OPAP, and we'll be soon hearing from Amina Rasul of the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy. I'm pleased to have such a diverse audience comprised of all the people that the Ambassador has mentioned, and to have so many friends and colleagues join us here today. This is indeed a happy occasion after what the authors and I have collectively experienced as the long journey to the long journey. The genesis of this edited volume goes back to, as Steve said, late 2012 and a Philippine Update conference that was held at the ANU at that time, the first since 2005. And I'm pleased to note that another Philippine Update is on the way at the ANU this coming September of 2016. The Philippine Updates are viewed as an opportunity to showcase expanding ties between Australia and the Philippines, one important component of which is the Australian commitment to the Philippines in the realm of development cooperation. And through those programs of development cooperation, this project and edited volume have been generously supported, and we are very grateful for that. So we see this as an opportunity to highlight the ties that are already there and to promote a broader network of academic research and policy linkages between the two countries. The timing of the October 2012 Philippines Update was, on the one hand, extremely fortuitous as it coincided, for those of you with a sense of the timetable of the peace process, it coincided almost exactly with the signing of the framework agreement on the Bangsamoro here in Manila. So it was great from the standpoint of what was in the news, but from the standpoint of pulling together an edited volume, our timing could not have been worse, as its analysis had to be written in the midst of many extremely important competing demands from each of the authors, and indeed from the editor as well. I tried to convince the authors to leave behind peacemaking so they would write about peacemaking, but they were never convinced. This book was originally conceived to be a conference volume examining what appeared at the time to be the impending successful culmination of the quest for peace in Mindanao. In the end, as you're going to hear more in a bit, the volume evolved into an in-depth examination of the latest stage of the ongoing peace process, focusing most of all on the years 2011 to 2016, complicated by an array of contextual analysis, historical, political, and economic, underlying one of the most enduring conflicts in the world. As the peace process continues under President Duterte, I very much hope that the expert analysis in this volume can help to serve as a bridge between the recent peace process, which came so close to success, and the new approaches that will be adopted by President Duterte, the country's first ever president from Mindanao. And I understand there was just an announcement earlier this afternoon about what some of the new approaches might be. May these new approaches bring the peace process to successful fruition and find a way to resolve the multiple conflicts that have long plagued both Mindanao and the Sulu archipelago. As General Emmanuel Bautista has commented on the back cover of the volume, and you will all be getting your volume soon, and I want to thank General Bautista for his enthusiastic support and for joining us here today. There he is in the back. Thank you very much, General. As he says on the back cover of the volume, all of us, stakeholders to peace in Mindanao, have invested a lot to win the peace. We have missed a lot of opportunities, but before us is a chance to deliver one final, well-placed shot. So while it is indeed a happy occasion to launch the volume today, we know that the enterprise in which we are engaged is the chronicling of a very long-standing and deeply complex conflict that has yet to be concluded despite protracted peace negotiations going back at least 4 decades to the 1976 Tripoli Agreement. Please note in the volume when you get it a wonderful picture of First Lady Imelda Marcos with Colonel Muammar Gaddafi in Tripoli in early 1977. That's almost 40 years ago. This has been going on a very long time. Well, we must acknowledge that the peace process itself has succeeded in bringing sustained periods of ceasefire in recent years, and that's a major achievement. Our real celebration must await the end of the conflict between the government of the Philippines and the Moro Liberation Forces in Mindanao. This volume is dedicated with respect and admiration to those who have been working tirelessly across the decades to bring peace and prosperity to the southern Philippines. I am confident that the volume can, through its rich analysis as provided by the contributors, provide a valuable contribution to that noble and ongoing cause. Well, as Steve sort of alluded to, it takes much more than a village to launch an edited volume. And I want to express my gratitude to all of those who have been a part of this effort. I want to begin by thanking and recognizing, first and foremost, the authors. So I see in the back Ronnie Holmes, who is back from Canberra, and more recently back from a little bit of field work in Sorsogon province, who did the first chapter. Jojo Abinales was here in town recently, but emailed to say he is here in spirit. He couldn't join us from the University of Hawaii. Steve and Miriam, right here at the front. Steve writing about international role of international actors, and Miriam talking about the dynamics of the peace process. Professor Abud Linga, who's flown up from Cotabato City to join us. Abud, great to see you. DJ and Melinda De Jesus, right here, who co-authored the chapter on the Mama Sapano detour. From the University of Philippines, who I think couldn't join us today, and Pancho Lara, Francisco Lara from International Country Representative. I want to thank numerous colleagues from the ANU in Canberra, and I won't go into that now because there's a book launch coming up in Canberra. I can thank them all there. Just look at page 33 of the volume. They helped with everything from oversight of the project to copy editing to cartography, proofreading, and very much more. I couldn't have done it without them. And Annie Habulan from Anvil Publishing is here, who shepherded the book through to completion and really created a beautiful volume. And want to acknowledge Annie's colleague, Isa Garcia, who could not be here today, whom I have yet to meet, but we were doing lots of emailing back and forth. Terrific to work with both of you. And I also want to thank the former chief editor of Anvil, Karina Velasco, who said she was going to come, hopefully still can, but she and I had the pleasure of, we're old friends, we had the pleasure of working on this way back when we were first planning the edited volume. Karina has since retired from Anvil. Then there's Judy Gulani, who is sitting next to Pancho here, who helped with editing and also with accessing a lot of photos. There's just all kinds of other people from different agencies and NGOs and news organizations who helped me track these photos down. Of course, the photographers themselves. I don't know that any are here, but you'll see their names in the book. As I hope is obvious, the images in the volume are meant to convey both the extraordinary time span of the conflict and the extraordinary time span of the attempted conflict resolution, as well as the sufferings that the conflict has inflicted upon the people of Mindanao and Sulu across the decades, and on a more hopeful note, the fervent desire that continues to be expressed and that continues to propel forward the prospects for peace. Amina Rasul here, General Bautista, and Dean Joseph Liao of the Rajaratnam School at Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. I want to thank you all for your uplifting words of support on the back cover. DFAT, as I said, for its generous support of the project, and I dare say its patience across multiple extensions. The Asia Foundation for so kindly organizing and hosting this book launch, especially Steve, Joel Pucerdas put an enormous amount of work into this, Tasneem Basman, Kit Castillo, who's worked on the audiovisual presentation that's just about to come. I see Patrick there, Blanca, thank you all. Forgive me if I'm forgetting everyone, but that we couldn't do this without TAF's great support. And as always, my deepest gratitude goes to my wife. Sitting there, and my wife, who has provided countless keen insights, a rich treasure trove of wisdom and good counsel, constant support, and encouragement. Daghang salamat, Inday.
Very welcome.
Very happy to have this wine. Maybe I'll be present on the weekends again. All right. Along with, which is good for both of us. Along with introducing the authors, as I've just done, I want us to move on to the audiovisual presentation that I mentioned, the production of which our TAF colleagues have overseen, and it provides a brief overview of the contents of the volume. Thank you and good afternoon.